Some people said it would never happen. Venezuela was seen as too fortified, too complicated, and too risky. But then it did. Reports say Nicolas Maduro was captured in Venezuela and taken out of the country. The real problem is that this was not about democracy and drugs. It was about power, oil, and a world where rules only matter for small countries. Maduro's capture should not be surprising, because the United States has already shown it can remove a leader in the hemisphere when it chooses to. The clearest example is Panama. Back in 1990, the U.S. invasion of Panama ended with Manuel Noriega being seized and taken away. Whether people think it was justified or not, one thing is clear: the U.S. always had the capability. So when people say they could never remove Maduro, the truth is it was never a question of capability. It was a question of political timing, political cost, and how far the Trump administration would go in violating international law. What makes this moment even more alarming is that the legal situation is unclear. There is no justice in a world where a legitimate head of state can be removed by the United States, and the rest of the world remains silent. Also remember, capture does not automatically equal control. Maduro has been removed, but the government still exists. The political institutions still exist. The security forces still exist. So the capture is just the start of a longer struggle over who will govern next and under what terms. Soon, we will see the extent of the CIA penetration and how soon the Venezuelan opposition agenda is realized. Maduro's removal was built through a political, economic, and military campaign that was designed to wear Venezuela down under the pretense of fighting drug trafficking in the region. Many Caribbean and Latin American leaders were willing to look the other way and accept the drug enforcement camouflage, not because they believed it, but because many were too afraid to speak out. Even when it was clear that the Trump regime was intent on regime change and military escalation, leaders in CARICOM, in the Organization of American States, and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States remained silent. This is a big blow to the stability of the region and a bow to Trump's re-colonizing intentions for the region. Here's another warning sign. In the USA itself, Congress seems unclear of its power in authorizing military strikes, and this is enabling Donald Trump to destabilize the so-called rules-based order. This means powerful countries like the USA can act first and explain later. Now we reach the part many governments and media prefer not to say openly: oil. Venezuela's oil reserves are huge, often described as some of the largest in the world. For decades, major powers have seen this as a prize. Venezuela's story can't be reduced to whether Maduro is bad or Maduro is good, because even if you dislike Maduro, the bigger question is, who benefits from the collapse of Venezuelan sovereignty, and what kind of transition is being prepared? Prominent opposition figures have floated a vision of a post-Maduro Venezuela built around privatization and opening national assets to foreign capital, especially the energy sector. This vision is too appetizing to resist. If the path to power comes with promises that U.S. multinationals will regain control, then the transition becomes an economic swap. That is where names like Juan Guaido in the past and Maria Corina Machado now become important to this story, because the opposition isn't just asking for international support. They are promoting a plan to privatize, restructure, and guarantee investment security for American corporations. So now that Maduro is captured, the next question becomes, what deals are already drafted? What contracts are to be signed? And who is positioned to sign them the moment a new government is recognized? This is important because a post-Maduro Venezuela, which is billed as a bargain between U.S. corporations and the Venezuelan elites, will cut ordinary Venezuelans out of the decision-making that determines their future. If the oil sector is reorganized quickly before democracy is stable, the new system can be locked in before the public has a chance to challenge it. The greater tragedy is that humanitarian law is being eroded, global norms are weakening, and foreign policy is becoming open transaction based on power, where might makes right and only the strong survive. And even international courts face pressure and sanctions. International institutions can speak, but powerful states can ignore them. That is the context of the world in which Maduro's capture took place, a world where international justice is an aspiration for many, but power dominates the reality. Now, what happens next in Venezuela? Here is the key. The armed forces still matter. Even though Maduro has been removed, the military command structure, security agencies, and regional political power brokers are still in place on the ground. So what is Trump's likely strategy to turn removal into meeting his objectives? Here are their three main aims. The U.S. will try to recognize their chosen leadership and push allies to follow suit. Recognition becomes a weapon, and diplomatic access will decide who gets treated as the government. They will sanction and freeze assets of pro-Maduro and patriotic Venezuelans to isolate leaders who won't comply. In the armed forces, they will bribe and pressure key elements to switch allegiance and turn some parts of the army into defenders of the U.S. intervention and treat loyalists as enemies. The CIA has already done a lot of this. The reality will unveil with time. Privatization, investor guarantees, and oil restructuring are the concrete results that powerful interests want. Trump will pressure any new government to initiate privatization quickly, sign investor guarantees, and pursue restructuring of the oil industry. The faster these changes are put in place, the harder it will be for Venezuelans to undo them later. So the question isn't only who replaces Maduro. The deeper question is, will Venezuela's next order be decided by Venezuelans or negotiated above their heads and enforced through power? America will advertise Maduro's capture as a victory for justice and for democracy, but what we're watching is a world drifting more and more towards re-colonization, and where international law is an empty slogan. If you like this analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment, and join our discussions at IRITalkJA. The date for the official launch of our YouTube channel is now Sunday, January 11 at 3 p.m.